The myth, I want to talk about the myth of soft life, freedom, and enjoying life. I have met a lot of people who associate certain things with fun and living the life. There are many women, many men who have sacrificed so much to attain certain freedoms, to go to the bar, to the club, to drink alcohol, to eat, to live their life recklessly. And they call it having fun, living the life, having time of their life. And you look at these people, a person who is living a life of addiction, a person who is a prostitute, who is using their body to allow filth into themselves, who is always intoxicated and barely remembers what they did the previous night. They are living a life of pain, hopelessness, and they package it as if it is positive. Remember, the Bible says, woe to them that call evil good and good evil. So this whole idea where people look at even ritual, a life of rituals, as a soft life, they are deceived. Because for a person who is into rituals, those people don't sleep. They have to use their bodies to feed the spirits that provide that world. They have to go through mental struggles where they struggle to keep their mind sane every day. That's why you notice most of them, they are addicts, they are isolated, they are always mentally and spiritually tormented. They lack inner peace. And even when they are running, their day-to-day lives, they only pretend to be okay around people. We see, like, if you look at the example of this man who was in Zimbabwe, he was like, he had risen to the level of being a principality. This man called Zodwa. This man called Genius, who was initiated by Zodwa. You look at the life he lived. He never had rest. He used to organize parties to use people as rituals, to get into sexual orgies in these all-white parties where he was initiating people into Satanism. And you look at the way he died. This man had a club. He never slept. He used to struggle so much with sleep that at night he would be awake doing rituals and star hunting. So even you look at most women, they're like, you come across like confessions or testimonies where a person would tell you that they were struggling, then they found someone, then they were initiated by a witch doctor or an occultist into a cult, and then they to make a sacrifice maybe of their relative, of their child, so that the child is alive but disabled because the goblin lives on the child. And the people don't understand the cost, the pain of living with a disabled child, the torture to your conscience every time you're seeing this child, the pain of going through a lot of trauma. I know of a certain lady who is married to a man who is a businessman, and this lady has two children. Both of these children, they are all, they are twins, and both of these children, they are struggling with mental illness, and she makes money. And you are living in a house with a mentally ill child, and you call that a soft life. You have to hire people to always be with your children because you are struggling mentally to cope, and you're the reason why that child is that way. I know of someone, I don't know who has a house where they, most of these people, the effects are on their children, and they see it and live with it, and they notice, and even the pain of knowing this child will never be okay for the rest of their life. This child's life will be cut short. The quality of their life will be this. I met a family. This lady, she wanted me to pray for her. This woman came from a good family. The father had a PhD and had a good job working in South Africa. And they had a house. It's not in the low density, but it's in the medium density, or maybe, yeah, but it's a good house and with a juror. So this lady was going to a boarding school. But because she was, as a child, she wanted this so-called soft life. So she started dating a man who was having those commuter omnibuses, maybe because they met, and because she didn't want to pay the money to go to the school, to money for transport. So that I feel like that's how she got captured by this man. And then she married this man who obviously looks so different from her, because this man, when you look at him, when a person has money from rituals and they are low rank, they don't look right. You can even tell that the way they look, and this lady who came from a good family where she has everything, is so different. So this lady, because of this man and the life where she liked easy things, she ended up marrying, getting pregnant for this man who was a ritualist. He had gone to get to a witch doctor with this mother, and got involved in rituals where he needed to use a snake. He had a snake that he lived with, but it's like, it's a demon. The snake, there are demons that live on that snake, in that snake. So this woman started to live with this man, and he was taking her to vacations. Life was good, but only for a short time. And this lady never had, most of the times when a person gets involved in rituals, I know there are some more victims of covenants that are made and they have nothing to do with them. But most of the times when a person is in rituals, they have a spirit that destroys any pregnancy of a boy, a man child, or a girl. So it's like they struggle with having a certain gender in among their children, because the spirits will be eating them, the demons will be eating them. So for her, she never had a girl. She wanted a girl desperately, and she never had a girl, and she only had boys. But this lady, she was so enjoying life, to the point that they would travel. Every vacation they're traveling. They were renting a house in Highlands. They were living the life, and she was even close to the likes of Elizabeth Macheka. They would do the round table. They had a lot of money, where they would give like $1,000 every week in the round table or more. So she lived that life, but only for a short time. Then something happened, and the husband lost all his wealth. And also for her, she thinks the wealth was also lost because of the women that she did the round table with, because most of them are ritualists. They go to, she says that most of them, they went to ritualists to attract rich men. So when they gave her money, she believes that's how they were destroyed and they were poor. So they lost everything. So they only lived can I say soft life? But I don't even think it's soft, because even as they were living that life, they were victims of demons and things that would demand things, taking things, the brain of their children, the destiny of their children. And even the life she was living, for me, you can't call it soft life when you're renting a house. It's not even yours. And you're mixing with people who are of a status that is way higher than you. You're just putting pressure on yourself. And so, when they lost everything, the husband lost the job. He had gotten a job, and he had many commuter omnibuses, and he was making money from people. When most of these people who are ritualists, they love commuter, they love public transport, because most people are spiritually ignorant. So when they get into that taxi, their lives are cut short, their blood is drained. That's why some people who are spiritual, when you get onto some taxis, you start to feel drowsy, you start to feel sick, you start to feel attacked, or you start to feel extremely tired, because your life, your blood is being drained. And also your money that you give to them, they take it to the altar, and it's messed up. That's why most people who rely on this means of transport, they are captured and remain poor. They are always sick because of the battle, where they are always drained. Blood is always drained, because most of them, they don't even pray before they get onto this public transport. I remember for me, when I used to use public transport, it was a nightmare for me. I used to be seriously attacked. I used to see things. And most of these people who own commuter omnibuses, buses, and taxis, they are doing serious rituals. So for me, I suffered so much. And I think it was the Lord who was revealing to me. Because for me, it was to do with my destiny. So the Lord, and my calling. So the Lord allowed it for me to experience those things. So, imagine the number of people whose destinies are taken, whose lives are cut short, because they went into a public transport of a ritualist. So this lady, after like 5 or 6 years of this life, she lost everything. And then when she lost everything, she is now living a very painful life, where they live in the city, but for them, they have to take water from a river. That's how they are living. They have to live in a house where everyone sees that they are poor. Their house does not even have a tiles that they are living. It's a small boy sky where there is no floor in that boy sky. But now, because she likes people to think she's rich, she approached me, and she wanted to be close, and because she wanted money. And for me, when she became close to me, I prayed for her, and then she didn't tell me that her things were because they are into rituals. So I prayed for her, and a witch doctor appeared to me at around 2 a.m., a witch doctor. But still, I did not give up. I just confronted them. Then they confessed. And then that's when the lady told me that when she was married, the husband and the mother, they used to go to a witch doctor. And she tried to stop them many times. But it's already too late when you marry a ritualist, and then you now try to control them by stopping them from going to a witch doctor when you're already in. Some people, it's like putting yourself in a situation that is so painful, because the Bible says you are the helper and you're supposed to submit to him. So the Bible does not expect you. If you are going to pray for him, you do it, but you're not going to control him and tell him what to do. It has to be a warfare where you take things spiritually, but you submit to him physically. So, this lady, up to now, she is paying. So whatever they call soft life, and now the snake that they took, like now they don't have much money and they are struggling. So one day I found them and the children eating just plain bread. And whilst they're eating just plain bread, they have to keep these local chickens at their house. And these chickens, they lay eggs, and these eggs are eaten by this snake every day. The snake eats the eggs whilst the children are starving and are malnourished. So, it's like this thing they call a soft life. It's not soft. Because now, whilst they are suffering the rituals they did and they lost everything, but still they are paying. And that woman now is the one who's working, because the men can no longer work. So whatever she was getting is just so little. compared to what she's paying right now. So, that's why you need to be careful. There are many people who were dating and thought they were having a soft life, but they notice after some time that their life is in danger. They have cancer of the cervix and they died prematurely. So whatever you are having, whenever you're using money, ill-gotten wealth, ill-gotten money, or you are not doing yourself a favor, because the life that you live is of pain. And there are some men who marry you now and you enjoy only for a few years, but you are the sacrifice. And after some time, you start to struggle with things like your womb. It gets damaged and you can no longer function, and he dumps you and is looking for another woman who still has a womb, a uterus that they can now use for the, it's like this thing where you're used. There is no soft life. And even if you're a man, that thing where you're sleeping with different women, that's hard work. That's too much. That's more draining than going to work every day. Because when you're working with your body, it's extreme. It's too painful. When you're working, like sleeping with different women, you are also putting your life at risk, because these women, some of them are ritualists. You end up even becoming the sacrifice if you find one who is higher than you in rank. So, it's like a life of pain, and you don't sleep. You're doing rituals during the day and at night. You are not free even to use your money. You are told by these spirits what to do, and they possess your body. And most of the time, you are not yourself. So it's all a lie that you have freedom. It's all a lie that you have financial freedom, because everything you have, when the rituals, when you don't do the conditions you're supposed to do, everything, you lose it. And even if you die, your children will not inherit anything. So there is no, this freedom. There is no freedom in sin. There is no freedom in living a life of sin, because the consequences will catch up. There is no peace in that. You can't live with yourself. You'll be struggling even to function on a daily basis. So it's all a lie of the enemy. That's the deception of the enemy. And when you're drinking, the feeling of having to drink and do rituals every now and then, it's just too much. It's not worth it. And most people, they feel like, oh, I have to look for this easy life where I do rituals. And then you notice that a person who's praying to God has peace, because they can sleep peacefully. They worship God daily. But you are worshiping a demon much more powerful than a person worshiping God. And you do rituals that are even worse than, and you still do fasting, worshiping a demon that can even punish you and destroy you. It doesn't care about you. So the things that you are running away from Christianity, you later find out that you are giving in more to the devil, and we're always giving more, you are more troubled. You don't have peace. So you're practically doing more than what a Christian does, and you're even more spiritual than the Christian, but your life is a mess. So you need to stop believing this lie of a soft life. It's a deception of the enemy.